Good morning. It's Wednesday. I'm bright, I'm happy, I'm delighted, I'm excited. You know what we do on Life and Style on Wednesdays? It's Relationship Wednesdays. And I have beef with Mikali, so I took over her job. You know, Mikali came into one of my services and recorded me, started talking about me. So I told her this morning, I'm going to take over and see when I will allow her to get back. So, you know, we've got Mandate, we've got Nisa Mehe, we do Style My Hobby, and then Ask Pastor Chris. Get us on our Twitter handle, communicate with us, converse with us. The hashtag is KTN Life and Style, but then you know that the the handle rather, is at KTN Life_Style for both Twitter and Instagram, and then KTN Life and Style is our Facebook. If you want to communicate with us on WhatsApp, it's 0700 574747. Just keep the conversation going. Tell your friends to get into watch because we've got a very interesting topic coming up on Monday right now. I am joined by two gentlemen. We are going to be talking about parenting, the journey of fatherhood, and the question is, would you join your wife in the delivery room? To help me talk about this, I've got these two wonderful gentlemen. This is Gato.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Very well. And Sammy, right?
Yeah, pleasure.
Yeah. Welcome to Life and Style.
Thank you.
And to Mandate.
Thank you for having us here.
You guys went into the delivery room, man.
Yes, we did.
You did. Not many men can do that. You know, it's always said that women are the weaker vessels. But when it comes to stuff like the delivery room, I do not know whether that is really true because most men are afraid.
Well, it requires courage. I didn't want to imagine I would be there in the first instance.
Yeah.
Because when my firstborn was born in 08, in my mind I had said, you know, I'll go, you know, he was born at Nairobi Hospital. So I knew in my mind I'd take a few shots of some whiskey just to strengthen my muscles and, you know, be ready for it all. And wait until the moment when I'm told, here is the child. Okay. But then again, I just found myself, you know, in the delivery room. Actually, I was myself, my wife, and just two nurses.
How did you find yourself there? Well,
it was interesting because my wife wouldn't let me, you know, get out of her sight. And she was all the time telling me, rub my back. And when the pains were still there, you know, the pains come at intervals, yeah? And the nearer she is to delivery, the higher the intervals are. So yeah. I used to rub her back when the pain was so intense, you know, so I could not leave her there. So all the time I was there for about 3-4 hours before the delivery.
All right. So that's your firstborn?
Yes.
You have two children?
I have two children.
Did you go in again the second time?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Oh, yes.
All right, Gato.
Yes.
How was it for you?
It was a bit different from Sammy's. From what Sammy is describing, I'm guessing his wife delivered normal birth,
yes.
Whereas my wife was a CS.
Okay.
So it was an epidural, which meant that, you know, they prepped her in the OR, then I walked in afterwards, all scrubbed up, you know, with gloves and the scrubs and everything. Then, you know, they asked me to, so she's lying on the bed, I guess, I don't know what they call it. And they have a screen up, you know, going across her waist. So I was told to be on this side, that her head, with the side of her head. So I couldn't see much of what was happening on the other end. So yeah, so the whole time, you know, she was just asking me what's happening because she, you know, she couldn't feel anything. She was numb. So she kept asking me what's happening, what are they doing, where is the baby? I just kept encouraging her. I couldn't see what was happening, but I couldn't tell her that I don't know. You know, you need to keep them calm and cool. Yeah. So I just kept telling her they're doing okay, they're doing well. You know, it will be over soon. And then about 10-15 minutes later, my firstborn was delivered.
How long ago was that?
That was September 2014.
Okay, yeah. That's 2 years ago.
That's 2 years ago, so he's, you know, 2, of course. I changed hospitals for my second baby. I have two sons. Changed hospitals for second one, and this other hospital would not allow me to go into the OR. So,
but you wanted to go in?
Yeah, I would have gone in. I didn't need whiskey like like Sammy here, but yeah, it takes, you know, when you walk in, you're not sure. It's foreign territory. You know, I think we men like environments where we know what we're doing, we're confident, but you walk in there and you follow instructions. You shut up and you encourage your wife and you chill.
Why did you need the shot? What was the emotion that you were going through then?
Well, we were just married for 1 year. So another time, my buddies, who most of them didn't have any children, were telling me, how can you hold that thought of being in the delivery room with your wife, you know, watching her deliver, going
You had
through
been
that.
talking about it?
Oh, yeah, with my boys, yes.
All right.
Yeah. But then it was just a thought of, hey, man, can I be that sober to get into that room? But then again, when I went in there, I didn't need any whiskey, you know. And when my last kid, my daughter, who's about 4 years now, when she was born, I just gathered the courage, the one I had when my boy was being born.
All right.
It was easier with my daughter than during my son's time.
So what was holding you as a fear?
Well, the unknown. Everybody fears the unknown. I mean, I don't know what to expect. You know, when we were growing up, we heard of these many stories that, you know, giving birth entails 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, it was just thinking out of the blues. Nothing had happened for me to be sure, you know, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So I had this kind of fear of the unknown, which, of course, after going in, I managed to overcome it.
All right. So how did you going into the delivery room, how did that affect how you relate both with your wife and the baby that is born?
Well, I mean, for one, you gain a newfound respect for women and what they go through in that room. You know, I went in and when with my firstborn, once he was delivered, you know, they moved the baby into the incubator, and then so I was asked to now move away from my wife and go over to where my son was, and then I was really excited. You know, I'm actually, like, I was literally yelling. You know, I was excited. I'm yelling back at my wife. You know, he's here. He's handsome. He looks so good. Then I think I made the mistake, and let me call it a mistake, of turning back, you know, to look. So this time I'm looking at, it's an epidural, and I turn and I see the surgeons, you know, he's literally like lifted up, you know, the flesh that covered, you know, the flesh, and he's poking stuff in there. And
Were you traumatized?
traumatized isn't the word, but I was like, I'm not looking back again. You know, let me focus on my son. Yeah, you know, it was something, I've never seen anything like that. Like, you could see flesh, you know, with blood and everything, and I'm like, yeah, you know what?
Did Sammy, did that bring a new bond? You know, he talks about respect, but did that bring a bond between you and the babies?
Clearly it did, because I was the first one to see my children.
Yeah.
Even the mother was the second. Actually, she was the third, because the nurses were the second. My boy, I was the first one to see him being born, because I saw the head come out, and I was like, whoa, so this is it. And, you know, it was just love at first sight, if you may call it. And it has always been so until today, because I feel very different from guys who wait at the corner, cringing, thinking, waiting, until they are told
In fact,
he's
some
here
of
or
them are
she's here.
never around hospital. You know.
Most of them are not.
That's true.
Most of them are never
Most
around
of them are
hospital.
not. Yeah.
They just can't take it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
just
Few
can't
men
take it.
can, by the way.
Yeah.
Few men can.
Yeah. But what's that about men? What is that about men that makes them, you know, so helpless? If a woman is sick, if a woman is unwell in a house, she will pull herself and try to make everybody else very comfortable. But if a man is sick, man, there's going to be trouble in that house. So is that the same weakness that we carry that makes us not even want to come around the hospital because we're not as strong as we think?
I think it is, because we always claim that women are the weaker sex, and I think we are the weaker sex when it comes to challenges, especially life challenges. Any woman will bathe you when you're sick. Any woman will nurse you when you're sick. Few men can do that. Few men can take up that core, you know, the normal chores that happen in the house. But a woman can do a manly job just to save you, just to save your skin, because you're not in a position of doing something.
Yeah.
I think it's the high time we really, you know, celebrate these women, because whatever they've been doing is awesome. It's out of this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sorry, just to add to what he's saying, a different perspective is, I think also there's a level of we men are not accustomed to that feeling of helplessness. You know, so you walk into the OR, you are as useless as the floor itself. You know, you can't do anything, you know, other than rub the back, as he's saying, and encourage. You know, there's nothing you can do. And I think we have a natural tendency to want to fix things or to want to, you know, be in control. And in that OR, you're not in control of anything. You know, it's you're there for the ride. You know, just encourage, but really, if anything, like for example, my son didn't breathe for a while. You know, when he was delivered, you know, for a minute there was no crying, no breathing. So you know, the natural tendency was, what can I do? But I mean, the doctors are there. What can you do? So there's a feeling of helplessness that women generally tend to shy away from. You know, it's an environment where you can't do anything. So.
Yeah. You know, I asked you that because tomorrow is my first son's birthday. The 24th of November is my first son's birthday. And when he was born, I'd gone out to do certain things. Then when I came back at around lunchtime, I was told my wife was in the theater. She had had a very long labor. You know, and I was not expecting that. You guys are strong, man. But I was not expecting that. I was hoping that there was a normal delivery. So then I got here, and I'm telling them, if she's in the theater, I want to go in. Then they did not allow me. So while standing over there, they bring this boy who is 4.3 kgs,
wow,
and they look at the tag, and then they say, here is your son. So my wife had been induced twice, so she was still off, and I was the first one to receive the boy. Then there was a bond that came in that over time, you know, we'd go with him everywhere. He never would miss the mom. He would not miss the mom. He would just be with me. Even when I would do disciplinary stuff, you know, he would still run back to me. And so many men miss the opportunity to bond with their children because they were not there at the beginning.
Yeah, that's where it starts, by the way. That's where it starts. Because even me, until today, like your case, in as much as I'm so hard on them, I'm a strict disciplinarian, by the way, they still come, sit with me. When I'm away, they keep calling me, when are you coming back, when are you coming back? And the mom tells me, you are spoiling these kids. It's not my making, you know, it's the nature, it's the way we were born, it's the way we were connected from the first time. It's as if, you know, most of us men tend to detach ourselves from that initial, you know, meeting of us with our children. And it's very important. Fine, they might not be in a position to see us or feel us, but I tend to feel the spirit connects in some way.
It does, and they do feel us. They do feel us. And I was going to come to the journey of, you know, the pregnancy, how you walk with your wife through it, just to add on that. But they do feel us. They do feel us because if you are violent towards the mother, if you are angry towards the mother, if you are having so many fights, somewhere along the line, when the baby comes out, you will see them display certain traits that came from the environment. Because human beings, you know, were you talking to the baby while the baby was in the womb?
Yes, yes. You know, we'd, especially once they start moving, and I think, I don't know about him, but for me it was fascinating to watch the tummy, you know, move and the kicks and everything. And so we'd like play games, like if I see a hand stick out, I'd, you know, tap on the hand and it would move. So that kind of interaction, I think, was fun. And I think it also helped my wife just feel, you know, I'm with her, we're in this journey together, and, you know, it's
How important is that, Sammy, for the woman to feel that you're with her in the journey?
It's everything. They yearn for it. Every human being yearns for love, for compassion, you know, having the idea or the knowledge that, you know, my spouse is here, he or she will be there for me at all the time. And like I was saying, most of us tend to shy away from that. Men will just need to provide financially.
They want to pay for the hospital.
For the bills and, you know, feel good about it. It goes beyond that.
And probably send their sister, an aunt, a friend, or somebody.
Or the auntie, or the mom.
Or the mom to come and check out the lady.
And they're there boasting around and, you know, feeling so good, having paid so much amount of money in terms of their fee.
Sorry, and I tend to think, just to add to what he's saying, in as much as it's a new environment. I mean, pregnancy is, we don't know anything about it as men, but for first-time pregnant mothers, I think it's even stranger for them, because as well, you know, in a way we are watching while she's in, you know, the baby's inside. You know, I mean, I can, you know, when she's throwing up, I'll get up in the morning and I'll go to work. You know, she's going through all these phases, you know, the first trimester when she's throwing up every morning and whatnot, and the baby starts to move. I remember my wife telling me how that just feels strange. You know, the very first time the baby starts moving, you know, she was, what's happening, you know? So I think even if anything, it's even stranger for them than it is for us. And so they need us to be there for them. They need our encouragement. They need us to tell them, don't worry, it's okay. Are you feeling weird? Yeah. You know, a lot of times my wife would be like, we need to go to hospital. And I'd be like, no, it's okay. Just relax, just relax.
Did you deal with, did any one of you experience moods changing, you know, and how did you deal with that?
Well, I was lucky. I was cringing at the thought of, you know, the mood swings, but my wife didn't have any.
Okay, both times she didn't have any.
No. From the onset, she
Okay.
didn't. She never changed by the way.
Both pregnancies. yeah.
Both pregnancies. Only the complexion and maybe the size. Nothing else.
All right.
The moods were there, easy, the normal ones. You know.
You're a lucky man.
Talk about that and how you deal with it.
For the second born, it was actually quite good. But for the firstborn, you know, I mean, you hear these are things you hear about, but when they begin to happen in your house, you're never
You
prepared.
never really prepared for them.
You know, one day I come home and she's mad, and you're trying to figure out what have I done? Like literally, I've literally walked in and she's mad, you know, and so you sit down, you know, you're not even sure whether you should sit down or stand down. You know, you're walking on eggshells in your own house, and then the next day she's all over you, lovey-dovey, and let's hang out and let's cuddle and watch movies. I mean, it was across the board. And then being woken up I remember sometime I was woken up at 2 a.m. And was told I'm craving chips from Sanford, 2 a.m.
And I believe you don't live in CBD.
No. Nowadays I live on Mombasa. By that time I was living in Ruaka. Ruaka to town, 2 a.m. And at the time I didn't have a car. It's 2 a.m. And you know, I think for most of these fish and chips places, they're open over the weekends.
Yeah.
But weeknights they close.
They close, yeah.
This is a weeknight. It's 2 a.m. I'm being told, get up. I'm hungry and I want chips from Sanford. It's normally not framed as a request, as a kind request.
It's a
It's
command.
more of, I want fries now from Sanford. So I looked at her and I'm like, you sure? Yes. Okay, sawa. Okay, cool. Turned over and
Let me ask you, does it sometimes occur to you when those cravings come and then the demands come, do you sometimes feel guilty, you know, like you're being made to feel guilty that she conceived, you're responsible for the pregnancy?
I mean, there are days when I felt like I'm being punished. You know, like, come on, like, you know, it takes two to make a baby. Why am I the one being punished here? But, you know, and then the other days
But she feels like your life is going on and then now she's
That's
stuck,
true,
you
that's
know.
true. She used to get pissed at me because I'd wake up in the morning, shower, and off I go. And, you know, she's there struggling. What am I feeling? Today I feel like staying in the house. You know, tomorrow I'm throwing up. I can't do anything. The other day she's feeling weak. And then, you know, I think she'd feel like, why does he get to have all the fun? Well, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sammy, some men lose attraction towards their wives during the pregnancy, especially when they begin to go through certain changes. Probably the face becomes round, they're swelling and all of that. So when the physical changes come, did you have to deal with that? And what would you tell men to do around that time?
Well, it's your wife, for better, for worse. And that's the first of it all. I didn't mind it myself because she never changed so much, even though, or assuming she had changed, she's my wife, I can't do anything about it. The better or faster you deal with it, the better for everybody. Because at the end of it all, she'll be the mother of your children. She's the one you chose to live with. You know, fine, at that time, maybe the physique would have been different until now, or the moods have changed until now, but then you can't kick her away. You can't, you know, try and be cold to her just because of the changes. These are normal things that happen. If you want to be fair to her, you know, you need to know that this is a phase, you'll overcome it.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think maybe just mine was a bit different because I think in the same way, when you're living with someone, it's harder to notice the changes. It's people, maybe when you meet someone after like a month or two, they tell you, hey, you've gained weight, and maybe someone who you're with every day doesn't notice. So I used to hear our mutual friends tell my wife that you're darker. And I'd look at her and I'd be like, okay, I mean, I didn't notice. Like, I literally did. Apart from the, you know, the weight gain, other than that, I didn't notice any changes. But I used to hear guys telling my wife that her complexion is darker now.
All right.
Yeah.
Were both your sons born by C-section?
Yes, both are C-section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that scare you the second time?
Second time, no, actually. For second time, I think the first one is the one that really gets you. Second time, we knew, the first, I think, you know, we especially with the history of the first one, we knew that both of them were breech babies. For some reason, both babies, they normally turn, their head goes down, and at around 7 or 8 months for both babies, they'd come back up. So the first one, you know, when they came back up, it really worried us. We were like, what's going to happen? You know, and the way they treat, in the hospital, they treat it as an emergency CS. When you hear emergency, you know, you start to panic, you know. But with the second one, we knew, in fact, I did the one telling the doctors, yeah, he's gone down, but his head it was down, but he's come back up. It's a breech baby, so it's going to be CS. In fact, it was an elected CS.
Okay.
So we knew about it. So the second pregnancy was much, much smoother for both of us.
Because all my sons, 3 of them, it's CS.
Yeah.
And the first one, I never wanted a CS. So when the first one happened, and then just seeing that they didn't do a very good job with my wife, it took her time to heal.
Yeah.
So I had to be there. I was doing all the nights. And at that time, we was broke, man. We was broke. So we didn't have diapers. We were doing nappies.
Yeah.
And I was washing the nappies, Sammy, with no whiskey. I was very sober, but I was... and guys would wake up the neighborhood. They would be looking at this guy who hangs the nappies in the night. And then I'd have to carry some stuff. People were buying bottled water. I was boiling water in the house and going with that to the hospital, and then pick up the dirty stuff and come back with them in the evening. So when my wife came back, I would have to cook in the morning, cook in the evenings. As I go out, come back, and still do the night duty. I'll still have to do the night duty. How important is that for you to be part of that healing? Because, she couldn't move much, but you've been working the whole day. Then in the night now, you're the one who's supposed to do all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, with CS, I think it's quite a toll on the wife, your wife, and my wife, especially. Like my wife
doesn't know anything about it.
Yeah, it took my wife, I think, 2 months, give or take, 2 months, 2.5 to heal from both of them. I think they did a good job. She doesn't complain of any complications or pain nowadays, so I think they did a good job. But I agree with you. Simple tasks like getting out of bed, because she'd have to sit up and that would compress the wound.
Yeah.
And she'd be in pain. Like most of the day she'd be in pain. I'm in the office. I have to go back to work, but she'd call me. She's in pain. At least I think we could afford someone to help in the house help. So that really helped her out. But at night, when and especially with CS, even breastfeeding, because then the baby would have to, when she's holding the baby, he's sort of lying on her tummy. So that would be difficult for her, even breastfeeding. So she'd breastfeed for the shortest time possible. Then some nights, I wouldn't say I was best husband of the year, but some nights I would wake up and, would do rounds in the house. And these babies when they're born, they never sleep at night. So sometimes I remember there's a time, 2 consecutive nights from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m., he's refused to sleep. His diaper is changed, he's fed, but he just wants to be awake. And if you put him down, he starts screaming. So I pick him up, and she's exhausted.
Your son is 2 years old right now, yeah?
Now he's 2, but at that time,
But even at 2 years, man, they don't sleep early,
Mine sleeps, I think if we've had to implement a schedule, but if you let him do his thing, he'll normally fall asleep at around 11 or 12 if you leave him alone.
Sammy, there is this thought that a lot of men cheat when their wives are pregnant or they have just delivered. What forms that thought?
It's just a fallacy, if you ask me. Just an excuse to cheat. Men or whoever tends to cheat, men or women, we always look for an easy, scapegoat, an easy reason to cheat. Because, like myself, why would I need to cheat? Because I was with my wife until about 8 months. It's medically okay. You're told you can do it up until when she so much pain. Now you can leave it. After all, it's a form of exercise.
What about when your wife is excellent? What about when the women who, because of the changes, then they say no to intimacy?
Well, that's a dangerous trend because again now they're pushing you out.
Yeah.
They're pushing you away.
I think, I've had a lot of women say that they don't feel attractive anymore after they've given birth. I personally, my wife is still as beautiful as she was. But if a woman starts pushing the man away, then, it may get to a point where the urges may take over, and...
So there needs to be a lot of communication between them, a lot of understanding, so that as she's going through all of these changes, the man, at that point, everybody has got to sacrifice, right?
Definitely. And I think it's important, and even something my wife kept, you know, I realize she's seeking that reassurance, that affirmation that she's still pretty, you know, even after she gives birth, because I think a large majority, a substantial percentage of women maybe don't feel attractive after marriage.
All right.
After delivery. So it's important that as a husband, you reassure them, you still love them, you still find them as attractive and all that stuff.
All right. Sure. Your closing thoughts. What do men do wrong when their wives are either pregnant or in maternity or just after giving birth?
When our wives are pregnant, first of all, we tend to go and seek solace from our friends, from other quarters. That's when the notion of cheating comes in, because guys will tell you, hey, boss, she's already paged, so let her be. So you can imagine if you chuck off from about the 3rd month, you'll have about 6 more months plus 3 more months
after,
of you know, being.
So they should stay
together,
close.
stay there, keep
right.
talking.
All right, Gato, your closing thoughts. What do we do wrong?
What do we do wrong? Sometimes we flee, you know, from the situation. It's something we don't know and we're not sure how to handle it, so we flee.
So both of you say that what men do wrong is to run away.
From our problems.
There you had it. Don't run away. Stay through the process from the point that your wife has conceived all the way to delivery. Stay there. She needs your support. She needs to know that she's still attractive. The baby also needs you. The baby needs to keep on feeling the love from the father too. Bonding begins way before you even deliver. We want you to continue with this conversation. Remember, it's KTN Life and Style. That's the hashtag on Twitter at KTN_Life_Style. The same with Instagram, KTN Life and Style on Facebook, 0700574747 on WhatsApp. You could also follow me, Chris J. Atemo on Facebook, at Chris Atemo on Instagram, and at CJ Atemo on Twitter. We'll be right back shortly after this break with Nisa May.
My children's father, actually, he abandoned me when I actually needed him most, because the worst he did was to remove me from the medical cover.